Okay, wow, you weren't kidding around with these LayerZero docs, huh? This is some seriously deep dive material on omnichain interoperability. You really went all out.
Well, it's a fascinating topic and important too. A lot of people are talking about this omnichain idea.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's kind of like, imagine if different blockchains could talk to each other, like directly.
Exactly. Right
Yeah.
now, they're mostly siloed, right? It's like trying to send, I don't know, a text message between someone with an iPhone and someone with an Android. It shouldn't be this hard to get different blockchains to work together.
And that's where LayerZero is stepping in, right? Trying to build that bridge.
Yeah. They want to be the universal translator, so to speak,
Yeah.
enabling different blockchains to share data, maybe even value, seamlessly, no matter how different the underlying tech might be.
Okay, so I can see how that would be huge, but I gotta say, these technical details you sent, they're intense. There's this whole white paper, LayerZero white paper, v2.1.0.pdf, and it gets deep into the weeds on security.
Yes, security is paramount in this space.
Huh.
One little vulnerability, and boom, you're talking about real-world money disappearing.
Exactly. So how does LayerZero approach security differently? I saw something about intrinsic security in there.
Right, so think of it this way. Imagine a bank vault, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about having a strong lock on the door. The whole structure is designed from the ground up with security in mind.
So it's not like an afterthought, it's baked into the DNA of the system.
Exactly, that's intrinsic security. And then on top of that, they've got this modular security concept, which is fascinating.
Okay, break that down for me.
So imagine you need to upgrade the lock on that bank vault. With LayerZero's approach, you could theoretically do that without having to rebuild the entire vault.
Oh, interesting. So you're not compromising the security of the whole system just to make a small change or an upgrade.
Precisely. Each part is designed to be upgradable independently. But there was another term you mentioned, universal semantics, right?
Yeah, that one threw me for a loop.
That's all about future-proofing. Basically, they're trying to create a system that can communicate with any blockchain, even ones that haven't been invented yet.
Whoa, okay, so they're thinking long term, trying to create a system that's flexible enough to handle whatever the future of blockchain throws at it. That's pretty ambitious.
It is. But ambition's a kind of a requirement in this space, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And speaking of ambition, this diagram in the white paper, it looks like something out of a science fiction movie. It's a lot to process, even for someone who's been following blockchain for a while. How does this thing actually work in practice?
Well, it's all about sending information from one place to another. In the simplest terms, think of it like sending a postcard. You want to get a message from point A to point B, right? LayerZero just does that, but with blockchains instead of mailboxes.
Okay, so walk me through it. How does this whole postcard thing actually play out in the LayerZero world?
So you've got your starting point, we call that an endpoint in LayerZero, and that's kind of like your mailbox, right? You put the postcard in.
Okay, makes sense. What happens next? Does it just magically teleport to the other blockchain?
Not quite. Think about it. If you're sending something really important, you might use a special envelope, right? Extra padding, maybe even a tracking number.
Right. Make sure it gets there safe and sound.
That's kind of what LayerZero's message lift does. It figures out what kind of security measures are needed depending on what you're sending.
So like sending a regular postcard versus sending a super valuable, one-of-a-kind collectible, different levels of security needed.
Exactly. Now imagine there's this whole network of like super dedicated postal workers, and their only job is to double check every single postcard before it gets delivered.
To make sure it's legit, not some kind of scam postcard.
Exactly. No funny business allowed. And that's basically what LayerZero's decentralized verifier networks, or DVNs for short, are doing. They're providing that extra layer of security, making sure everything is on the up and up.
So we've got our super secure postcard. It's been checked and double checked by the blockchain postal service. What's the final step?
Well, gotta get that postcard delivered. That's where executors come in.
The actual mail carriers of the LayerZero system.
You got it. They pick up the verified transaction from those DVNs we talked about and make sure it reaches its destination safe and sound on the other blockchain.
Okay, I gotta admit, the postcard analogy is actually pretty clever. It helps break down something that seems super complicated into something we can all relate to. But, earlier we were talking about the competition in this space.
Right, and it's fierce. Polkadot, Cosmos, Quant.
Yeah.
These are not small players. Each one's got its own strengths and weaknesses, different approaches to solving this whole interoperability puzzle.
So it's like a blockchain battle royale, huh? What are the pros and cons of each? What sets them apart?
Well, take Polkadot, for instance. They've been around a bit longer, have a decent head start. Their relay chain model, it's like a central hub connecting all these different blockchains. Pretty cool, and it's been working well so far.
So they've got the whole experience thing going for them. What about Cosmos? What's their claim to fame?
Cosmos is all about building this internet of blockchains. Sounds catchy, right? And they've got a really passionate community of developers, which is huge in the blockchain world. Plus, their IBC protocol, inter-blockchain communication, it's gaining a lot of traction.
Okay, so strong community, active development, got to be an advantage. And what about Quant? They're in the mix too, right?
Yeah, Quant's a bit different. They're laser focused on those big enterprise solutions. You know, the Fortune 500 companies, the big financial institutions. They're trying to bridge the gap between those guys and the blockchain world.
Interesting. So they've carved out their own niche, not trying to be everything to everyone, just really good at what they do. Sounds like LayerZero has some stiff competition, to say the least. Speaking of LayerZero, their token, ZRO. It's been on a bit of a roller coaster ride lately, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely some volatility there, but you know, that's crypto for you, especially for a project that's still relatively new on the scene.
That's true. Big swings can happen. But for listeners who are maybe thinking about the investment side of things, what should they be watching for? Again, not financial advice, of course, just some things to consider.
First and foremost, anyone thinking about putting money into LayerZero, or any crypto for that matter, got to do their own research. Don't just follow the hype, look under the hood, understand the tech, the team, the vision.
Solid advice. Don't invest in something you don't understand. So, let's say, just for argument's sake, that LayerZero really pulls this off. I mean, they make this whole omni-chain thing a reality. What does that even look like for the average person?
Well, it could be pretty transformative, actually. Think about how we interact with the internet today. We don't really think about the underlying infrastructure, do we?
Right, we just kind of use it.
Exactly. We send emails, we stream videos, we shop online, and it just works. LayerZero wants to do that for the blockchain world. Make it so we don't even have to think about the fact that we're interacting with different blockchains.
So no more jumping through hoops to use different DeFi platforms or transfer NFTs between marketplaces. It all just flows.
That's the idea. A truly interconnected ecosystem where value and information can move freely. It could unlock a wave of innovation that we can barely even imagine right now.
Okay, so big picture, I get it. But any concrete examples? How would this actually change things in, say, 5 or 10 years?
Well, for starters, think about supply chains. Right now, it's a mess. Different companies using different systems, no real-time visibility. Blockchain could change all that.
And if LayerZero can connect those different blockchains, suddenly you've got, like a global, transparent tracking system?
Precisely. Or think about digital identity. Imagine having one secure, verifiable identity that you control that works across every platform, every service. No more creating a million different logins and passwords.
That would be a game changer, so much less hassle.
Exactly. And these are just a couple of examples. We're really just scratching the surface of what this technology could enable.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure. A lot of potential, but also a lot of ifs. Like, will LayerZero actually be the ones to make this happen? Or will they be, another stepping stone on the path to something even bigger?
It's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And anyone who claims to know the answer for sure is probably selling something.
That's fair. But hey, that's what makes the space so exciting, right? It's the Wild West out there. Anything is possible.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here, right? To explore these ideas, try to make sense of it all.
Could have said it better myself. As always, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been truly illuminating. And to everyone listening, keep those brains engaged, keep asking those tough questions, and we'll catch you on the next one.